Hello students, now it's your accounts class, and from your book Double Entry Bookkeeping we started one chapter number 6, issue of shares. So objective of issue of share is when company issues the shares and public applied and money collected used by the company for investment purpose, for development of infrastructure, for employment generation, for smooth running of the business. Yesterday I started one topic, that is issue of shares consideration other than cash, and point covered under this topic, that is vendors. So let me tell you a small story for more better understanding of this topic. See, example, two companies available: X Limited car manufacturing, Z Limited tires manufacturing company. There is a company called X Limited. They who manufacturing the cars, they make all the parts of car except the wheels. So X Limited car manufacturing company manufacturing all the parts of the car except the wheels, tires, and the wheels they would outsource from another company called Z Limited. So from Z Limited, tires outsources by the X Limited. But now they wanted to expand and they would thinking of acquiring X business. So they want to acquire the business of Z Limited, but they were not having enough finance to do so. So here is the problem is they are not having enough finance. Now in such a case, what can a company do instead of cash? Well, they can offer shares or cash in return. Cash they are not having. Now only shares option with the company. So now friends, are you wondering how is this possible? How can a company issue shares to another company instead of giving the cash? Two big questions here. So what do we call this procedure? Well, our today's session all about issue of shares consideration other than cash. Instead of cash, consideration or payment for an asset or a business is to be made in kind, that is by issue of shares, when not in cash, by issue of shares only. Now, our today's topic, issue of shares to promoters or underwriters. Now first of all, promoters. Who are they? The company's formation can be divided into 4 segments: promotion, registration, flotation, commencement of business. See, so one by one see. Number 1 point is promotion. Promotion of a business simply refers to all those activities that are required to be undertaken to establish a new business unit for manufacturing or distribution of any product or providing any services to the people. Like promotion, firstly, whenever any business started, promotion required. So the promoter helps in promotion. The whole process is called business promotion, and the person who does it is called the promoter. Who conducted the promotion work is considered as promoter. Registration. Registration is the process by which a company files required document with the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), detailing the particulars of the proposed public offering. Proposed public offering means issue of shares. Registered, first of all, company registered with the SEC and also shows the issue of shares. Firstly, initially they are offering to the public. Registration procedure. Step number 1, acquire the director identification number, acquire digital signature certificate, Step 3, create account on Ministry of Corporate Affairs MCA portal, new user registration. And the fourth point, last point, apply for the company to be registered. Flotation. The process of selling shares in the company to the public for the first time in order to obtain money. Flotation simply selling of shares. The fourth step, commencement of business. In simple terms, commencement of business means starting a business. Now, the main point, practical point, issue of shares to promoter for services. Sometimes the company issues shares to the promoter for their services to the company. Such issue of share is also an issue of shares for consideration other than cash. First of all, promoters provide services. So in return, the company not provide cash, only issue of shares provided and considered as other than cash. From the accounting purpose, the amount of shares issued to the promoter is debited to the either goodwill account or incorporation cost account. So journal entry here is number 1, journal entry, goodwill incorporation cost. So when a company issues shares in consideration of services of promoter, considered as goodwill. For goodwill, the company paid to promoters. Debit all expenses and losses, here rule applicable. So goodwill account debited, incorporation cost account debited to promoter. Debit the receiver, here credit the giver. To whom provide? Promoters. Next entry, promoters account debited to share capital. Now what goes out? Share capital. So here credit what goes out and promoter debit the receiver. Promoter receiving, so promoters account debited to share capital account. Now see your book page number 6.113. Sum number, your sum number 15. Sunrise Limited purchased a running business from the Bhaskar for rupees 15 lakh payable 12 lakh in fully paid shares of 10 each, balance through the check. So here the consideration 15 lakh, 12 lakh by shares and rest by the check. Assets acquired and liabilities takeover, plant, building, sundry debtors, stock, cash, sundry creditors given to you. You are required to pass the necessary journal entry in company's book. So see the solution here. Purchase consideration. Sunrise Limited purchased the business of Bhaskar for rupees 15 lakh, 12 lakh fully paid shares, 10 per share, and balance. Balance see 15 lakh total minus 12 lakh equity shares issued, 3 lakh by check. Now solution. First of all, debit all the expenses. Machinery account 6 lakh, stock 2 lakh, building 4 lakh, cash 3 lakh, sundry debtors 1 lakh 60,000, and your liability sundry creditors credited 60,000. Now the company, Geeta and Company here. So here Bhaskar's consideration 15 lakh. Okay. So right here your promoter Bhaskar 15 lakh. Now capital reserve, how to find out? See, first of all, net assets is equal to asset minus liability. First of all, see your asset number 1, plant 6 lakh. So 6 lakh plant, 2 lakh stock, building 4 lakh, and 3 lakh cash, and 1 lakh 60,000 your sundry debtors minus the current minus the liability. Your only one liability here is sundry creditors 60,000. So 16 lakh your total net asset. So how to find out the answer here? 16 lakh your net asset and compare it with your consideration, and the consideration is 15 lakh. If your purchase consideration is less than net assets, it means capital reserve. If your purchase consideration is more than your net asset, considered as goodwill. So here capital reserve is equal to 1 lakh. Purchase consideration minus net worth. 1 lakh is the difference. So show here two capital reserve. Capital reserve always credited, goodwill always debited. So capital reserve balance is 1 lakh. Your full-fledged entry here. Being the purchase consideration for acquiring the business. Now the next point here is when shares issue. Promoter Bhaskar account 15 lakh to share capital 12 lakh to bank. So the 12 lakh issued the shares and the rest with the help of bank. By check 3 lakh total 15 lakh. Being purchase consideration settled by issue of 1,20,000 fully paid shares of rupees 10 each and the payment of 3 lakh by check. Now the next point, issue of shares to others for services, say underwriting commission. So in my previous lecture I discussed with you underwriters point. So one again, see the definition of the underwriters. In an initial public offering, the underwriters buy the securities from the company. Means underwriter purchase the shares from the company about to go to public and certain price to sell the same securities to the public, shares to public. Then they subsequently sell the securities to the others. He is considered as risk taker. So underwriter firstly purchase from the company shares and then ultimately sell the shares to the public. When the shares are issued to underwriters in lieu of their commission for underwriting the company's shares, following accounting entries are passed. So see the accounting entries. Number 1, for underwriting commission due. If your underwriting commission due, underwriting commission account debited to underwriters. For payment of underwriting commission, when you ultimately paid the underwriter commission, debit the receiver, share receiver, underwriter's account debited to what you are giving, not cash, what goes out, share capital. If partly by check to bank. Your homework questions: apart from the issuing shares to the general public for cash, list other two groups to whom a company could issue shares for consideration other than cash. Second question, give the difference between the reserve capital and capital reserve. Solve sums 17 to 20 plus related illustration and also watch the link for more better understanding of the topic. And hope so. First of all, you go through the topic and revise all previous topics and also solve the new sums. Thank you.